Ralph's Ayahuasca experience at Gaia Sagrada Ayahuasca Healing Retreat Centre in Ecuador.
It gets hotter and hotter, and as the third and fourth round, where the walls start to heat up, is really intense. There were times when I wasn't sure I would be able to stay.
If love is why I'm here, let me be an open channel. If love is why I'm here, let me give and then receive.
I was apprehensive. My only experience with hallucinogens goes back to my youth, some experience with LSD, but that's about it. And that was, 40 years ago. So did the typical Googling, like best place to do ayahuasca retreat, and found Gaia Sagrada. Was impressed with some of the testimonials, and no one that I know has done it. My age group, anyway. I didn't really want to be in the jungle. I kind of liked the idea of being up here in the Andes, and corresponded with Jerry, the manager, by email and talked to him about some of what I was trying to work on. And I thought his responses were very empathetic, and so I just, at that point, just decided to come. I didn't know what to expect, but these grounds are just spectacular. They're beautiful, and then you have the mountains to look at. We're here at 9,000 feet in the Andes. And the vegetation, everything is just perfect to be. Gaia Sagrada does a wonderful job of putting the structures in place that need to be here for the ceremonies and the program, but without really negatively impacting the environment around it. So this is the Maloca. This is where the Ayahuasca ceremonies are. Ayahuasca ceremonies are held at night. It was very intense, and there were, for me, a lot of visuals. At first they were just abstract patterns and beautiful colors, but then the pattern or theme seemed to be sort of grotesque faces or distorted faces with, but always smiling, a gentle smile. And then the most striking image was a man in an iron helmet, like looking right at me, locking eyes with me, but smiling, the most sincere smile. And that I will take with me forever. That visual was amazing. Maybe I don't get rid of the iron helmet that I have on my head, even maybe I can't do that, but I can still smile. I can still love people, even with that sort of baggage. I love that image. I felt like, looking back at my life, kind of an inauthentic life, and I think it had a lot to do with trauma in my childhood. And I made a decision that I'm 66. Do I keep on to the rest of the way, or do I try and live more authentically than I have? The issue of guilt and forgiveness, it was a big issue for me with respect to my father, and even to myself as a child. Forgiving myself, forgiving my father, and coming here gave me that insight, I guess, that's something that could be a theme for a longer work of fiction. The second ceremony, the San Pedro ceremony, removes the barriers between interacting authentically with another person, or even people, thinking about people or events in your past. Very powerful, very pleasant. You're talking in front of the whole group about something very personal, very painful, and even an introvert like me, all those defenses kind of fall away, and you can interact without anything in the way. It's very powerful feeling. The shaman asked me if I was ready to forgive my father, which we did, and then he asked me if I was ready to forgive my own self, my 6-year-old self, which I did. And the other thing that the shaman said to me was, you can be thankful to your father, if nothing else, for showing you how not to be a father. And as a father myself, that hit home. And I sort of reflected on those messages and the idea of holding this grudge all my life of my father, and also fear of myself in terms of how much guilt I had. The way out of that is the theme of I think will be the theme of my novel. So I already sketched out the characters, the people I want to use as basis for the book, and it's way more than I've been able to put together ever before. I've tried to write fiction, longer fiction before, it's never worked out. But I'm really excited right now that this is something I could carry to the end. My experience in the Sweat Lodge was very, very intense. I think it was the same for everybody. There's 4 rounds. They bring in hot volcanic rocks. Doors closed. This is closed. Pitch dark. The shaman sings and plays the drums, but it gets hotter and hotter. And as the 3rd and 4th round, where the walls start to heat up, is really intense. There were times when I wasn't sure I would be able to stay. Some people were having trouble with ayahuasca, or they needed more water or things like that, and everyone was helping everyone out. And the fact we made it through it together was very powerful. It was an amazing ordeal, although I'm not sure I'll ever do it again. I'm really happy I made it through. The whole idea is when you leave finally, you're being born again, and the coming out of the womb of your mother. If this is a metaphor for life, we're not alone. I think the overarching theme here is the most important thing is love. Anything that stands in the way of that should be put behind you. I mean, I know that's maybe sounds to someone sort of idealistic, but the longer you're here and the more you participate in the ceremonies and the medicine, I think that becomes clearer and clearer. For me, as a person who's older, the most important thing now is how can I leave here and take that message with me, simplify my life, get rid of the stuff that's not important, and focus on how I can be an instrument of love. I guess that's a message I would send to older people. Don't think it's too late. I encourage you to think about doing something like ayahuasca to deal with some things in your past. It's never too late. So many people are damaged. Normally interact with people, especially people we don't know very well. We don't take that into account. We're not very, or at least I can be not very gentle. But now, for that, the thing I will remind myself is to be gentle with people. The staff have been wonderful, and if there are, I think the average person will have some anxiety coming here, but you only have to be here a day or two. The very first, when you arrive, I gave more hugs out when I got out of the taxi than I probably have in the last 6 months, and it's genuine. You wait, a person with a little cynicism like me, saying, okay, this is an act, but as you interact with these people, they're genuinely interested in you. They're just great. The whole staff is just wonderful, especially the young people. They are so far along on a spiritual journey, so much farther than I am at my age, much less the age I was when at the same age as they are. And so that gives me so much hope for the future, hope for my grandchildren, because my generation, the baby boomers, kind of messed things up. So I'm so impressed with the young people and their intentional trying to heal not only themselves but the world. They really have that as an objective, and it gives me hope for the future.